that the images of Federico of Denmark with Genevieve Casanova in Madrid were going to stir the waters. It was obvious from the start. It's not often you see the heir to the throne walking around unaccompanied and spending the night at a friend's house in a foreign city. What could not have been foreseen was that these photos, which were published exclusively by Lecturas magazine, were going to destroy the very foundations of the Danish royal house. But that's exactly what happened. Last Sunday, December 31st, Queen Margaret announced in her traditional Christmas speech that on January 14 she would abdicate in favor of her firstborn son, and her wife Mary Donaldson would become queen. A decision that surprised everyone, since few people knew. In fact, Mette Frederiksen, the Danish Prime Minister, had to change her speech, which followed that of the monarch, upon hearing this wonderful news. As the days passed, we were able to learn more about this radical decision, from the clues that had already pointed to it to the reasons why. However, it was possible to find out what was the trigger that prompted the monarch to give up his throne. In fact, abdication is what Maria herself asked for, Pliego stated in front of the TARD-AR staff. It was then that he discovered the exact words spoken by the princess: either we are now kings or it's over. Faced with the disbelief of his comrades, Luis repeated these words with a variation of what Maria would have said: either we are kings or I'm going to Australia. This phrase is indicative of many things. First, the whole controversy that arose over her husband's pictures with a Mexican model had a profound effect on Maria. Although the princess continues to fulfill her institutional obligations and has not shown a single sign of weakness in public, she has felt all the tension and attention that this scandal has caused her. The ultimatum also clarifies the relationship between Mary and the Queen, as at the worst moment of her marriage, the Australian turned to her mother-in-law to help her deal with the situation. And at the same time, the monarch showed great concern for her daughter-in-law's condition by giving in to her request and also wanting to avoid a major disagreement if they divorced. Of course, if this ultimatum accomplished anything, it was that Mary Donaldson would make history by becoming the first Australian queen of the world. A historical fact that follows her mother-in-law, as Queen Margaret was the first independent monarch of Denmark. He was able to rule the country due to a change in the law after 2 referendums that allowed women to rule the country. Although it was a surprise to Danish citizens to hear their queen announce that she would abdicate in just a few weeks, his plans to leave the throne had been hovering in the social sphere for months. Apparently, the monarch had been mulling over the idea of making room for her son for some time. The main reason for this was her health ailments, which did not cease to affect her role as an institutional figure. In fact, after her back surgery, she has been seen less and less often at events and activities, which is very strange since she is a very real and visible queen to the people of Denmark. Despite this, plans were still brewing and the idea was getting used to. And Margaret repeated more than once that her responsibility as queen was for life. However, in all these plans, a stumbling block appeared: photos of Federico with Genevieve Casanova. Once again, Luis Pliego revealed this to TARD-AR a few weeks ago. This week, I spoke to many Danish journalists. They repeated the latest cover story, he explained. This scandal and speculation about the relationship between the heir and the model put everything in its proper place. He was preparing Marguerite's abdication to take the throne. But it all stopped him, Luis said. Of course, her reaction to not make things worse was key. The Queen had her son's back completely. At the same time as the news broke, the royal family issued an equidistant statement to clarify their position. For many years, we have had a policy not to comment or confirm any details regarding private matters. In addition, we would like to emphasize our commitment to respecting the privacy of members of the royal family, including the Crown Prince, the text said. It also banned press access to the annual royal hunt in the Gribskovi forests or the swearing-in of Christian, son of Federico and Maria, on his 18th birthday.